In this video, I'm going to show you how to use a few different Photoshop tools to cut out part of an image. You can use your own image, or you can use an image that you got from the internet. Just make sure it's something simple so it doesn't take you too long to cut it out. Once you get your image open in Photoshop, take a look over here at the Layers panel. Yours will probably have a background layer with a padlock on it. You need to unlock this layer by double-clicking the padlock, and in this new layer box, click OK. Now you can see that this has been converted to layer 0 and there's no more padlock, so that means it's unlocked. For my image, I'm going to use the crop tool and go ahead and click and drag a box around the part of the image that I want to keep. I don't really need all this extra stuff over here on the outside. Once you get your box drawn, you can use these handles to refine it a little bit. Once you get the selection the way you want it, go ahead and click the check mark or hit enter on the keyboard. So you might not have to crop your image. It depends on what you choose. To make this image fit the screen, I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut, which is Control-0. The objective for this, for cutting something out, is to do it quickly and accurately. So the first tool that I'm going to use is the Magic Wand tool, which is right above the crop tool. Click and hold on the tool and make sure that you select the second one down. What the Magic Wand tool does is when you click on a pixel, it selects all of the pixels that are similar in color to it and touching it. So I can just push delete on the keyboard and I can pretty quickly go around and delete large areas of the image. But there are some drawbacks to the Magic Wand tool which we will encounter on this image. So let's get as much of this cut out as possible. And let's cut out what we can up here. And you can see this is the drawback. So when I clicked this area, this part of the bird is the same color as the background. So I'm not going to be able to use the Magic Wand tool in this area. So Control-D is deselect, and I'll go ahead and try different areas so that hopefully I can use the Magic Wand tool a little bit more because it's so quick, and I'll have to refine it with another tool. And I think that's about all that I can cut off safely using the Magic Wand tool without accidentally deleting parts of the hummingbird that I don't want to. So Control-D is deselect. Now what I'm going to do is switch to the Lasso tool. The Lasso tool is directly above the Magic Wand tool. So I'm going to click that, hold down the button, and choose the second one, which is the Polygonum Lasso. So the way a lasso works is that you draw a selection around something and then you can press delete to get rid of it. So I'm going to use the magnifying glass and I'm going to magnify the part that I want to cut out so that I can see what I'm doing a little bit better. So with the Polygonal Lasso tool, I'm going to start right up here, and I clicked one time and you can see that the cursor kind of stuck the beginning of the lasso right there. Now I'm just going to move over and click again, move over and click, move over and click until I outline the whole thing. You have to be a little bit careful. Do not click too fast. If you accidentally double click, it will ruin your selection and you'll have to start over again. And it can get pretty frustrating. So when there's a straight area, you can click far apart. But when there's a curved area, you have to click close together. Otherwise, you'll make a jagged, inaccurate selection. So here on the curve, I'm slowing down. And I'm cutting off parts of the hummingbird that I think don't really matter, like where the feathers are kind of poofed out right there. Now I'm going to go down to this area, slow down when I get towards the branch, and what if I accidentally make a mistake and I click up in the area where I didn't want to? You can just hit the backspace button. So watch what happens. Backspace, backspace, backspace. So I can backspace as much as I want to. So I'm going to finish cutting around this area. When I get to this part, I don't have to be accurate. I can be really sloppy because it's on the outside and it doesn't really matter. So with the lasso, you have to touch the beginning point and the end point. And when they touch, you'll see the little round circle appears next to the cursor. Just click one time and that makes the selection. Then all you have to do is click delete on the keyboard. So Control 0 to make that fit on the screen. Now I'm going to go down here and get this area around the tail feathers. So I'm going to magnify this and get my my lasso tool, and I'm going to cut those weird colors off of the branch and cut around these feathers. Just click and move the cursor over, click and move the cursor over. I think I'm going to cut off that branch right there. So I can be sloppy in this area, I can be sloppy over here. Make sure the beginning point and the end point touch, hit delete. Control D to deselect, and Control 0 to make it fit the screen. Now, I know that there's areas where I missed a little bit. So I can see them better, I'm going to create a new layer, which is this button right here, and I'm going to paint it black. So I'm going to make sure that black is in my little color box over here, and it is. And I'm going to get the paint bucket tool, which is grouped together with the gradient. So click and hold on the gradient and get the paint bucket and click it, click the layer, and then drag layer 1 below the other layer. So black works for me because of the colors of my image. You might have to use white for your image. It depends on what color your image is. So I'm going to go back to layer 0, and now I can see really clearly the areas that I need to get rid of. So I'm going to get the eraser tool, and this is the size for the eraser tool. I'm going to choose a hard edge brush, size 19. To get rid of this box, just click up somewhere in the gray area. So that cursor is actually really small. So on the keyboard next to the P keys, look at the brackets. The right bracket makes the brush larger, and the left bracket makes it smaller. So I'm going to use this really large brush, and I'm going to go back and really quickly, carefully get rid of all of these little specks that I have left on here that I don't need. And when I need to get into a smaller area, I'm going to use the left bracket to make my brush smaller so that I can swipe these areas and get rid of all the little speckles of color. Alright, looks pretty good. So now I could use this image in some sort of a collage or whatever other Photoshop applications I need to. So I'm going to throw away this layer. And by the way, this checkerboard pattern is the symbol for transparency. So now it's very important when you save this that you save it as a PSD. Do not save it as a JPEG. If you save it as a JPEG, it will flatten it and automatically put a white background on it, which defeats the purpose of cutting it out in the first place. So To get this onto your website, I'm going to show you how to use a new tool. So I'm going to minimize Photoshop and find on your desktop this tool right here. It's called the snipping tool, and double click it to open it. I'm just going to push cancel for now. I'm going to set up Photoshop with my image in it, and then go back and get the snipping tool, click new, and you'll notice that there's kind of a white veil over the screen. So I'm going to click and drag a box around my Photoshop document, and the snipping tool takes a picture of that part of the screen. So now all I have to do is click the save button, and I'll call it cut out Hummer. Oops. Hummer. And make sure that the file type is JPEG. And since I'm on my laptop, I'm going to save it to my desktop. You should save it to your W drive. So if I go ahead and look at my desktop, there's my cutout JPEG that is ready to be put onto my website. So that is it for this video.